Welcome to part 5 of our 2022 Alaska Princess cruise and land tour. This first clip is taken from part 4. Apologize for reusing this clip, but it serves the purpose to get us on board. Up front, I'll tell you, we didn't do a lot of on-board filming. The point of this vlog was not so much to do a ship tour. There are plenty of those out there on YouTube. They're easy enough to find. But we do have a couple of short clips. We have a room tour coming up here in a moment. And we'll talk about that. Our room was a junior suite. Nice and large. Well appointed. Again, the Grand Princess is an older ship, and it shows in a lot of ways, and it's to be expected. And of course, you know that when you book, when you go on. But the room was nice. It was adequate. It was comfortable. Some of the furnishings, again, a bit dated. The pull-out couch in the little sitting area was worn to an extent. Televisions, 2 televisions in here, one by the bedside on the bed, and one here by this little sitting area. And then, of course, our balcony. Very nice room. No complaints with it. And our room steward was outstanding, so no complaints at all. This is the International Cafe. It's an alternative to the buffet. It's an alternative to the main dining room. This is where we ate breakfast most of the time. The items change during the day, breakfast, lunch, etc. There's also the coffee bar. We would get our hot chocolate in the mornings. This was a very pleasant place to come in and grab a snack or breakfast. Not a problem. That's the art gallery there in the background. Again, not a lot of shipboard views. What we do have coming up, there's a unique thing that Princess does on Alaska cruises, and that's to bring out the sled dog puppies for people to interact with. This is cool. This is fun. Everybody gets a big kick out of it. The puppies are cute, of course, and they're friendly, and they're willing to be handled. And it's kind of a big event. More turnout than I certainly expected. I guess I didn't realize Princess does this, but it's kind of a neat idea. And the dogs, they keep them out for quite a while, and everybody that wants to have a picture taken with them can. There's a line forms, and it's an enjoyable time. Now, the remainder of this video is mostly cruising, Inside Passage, Hubbard Glacier, that sort of thing. Not a lot of narration, I guess, to go with it. The views just kind of speak for themselves. Again, the point was to show Alaska more than the ship, and if people want to see ship videos, I'm sure that's easy enough to find on YouTube. But the scenery was just beautiful, and again, this is to show people, if you travel to Alaska in May, this is what you're going to see. Now, we were exceptionally lucky because we had sunshine and blue skies 99% of the time. I think the only place we got any rain at all was in Ketchikan, and you'll see that in the next video. Not enough to slow you down, not enough to keep you from doing anything. Our previous trip to Alaska had also been in May, and again, similar temperatures, but in that particular case, we did get rain every day. But again, not enough to stop you from doing things. I'm kind of the opinion that if you go to Alaska, you expect the weather to be like Alaska, and to me, cold weather and drizzly rain says Alaska, so it wasn't a big deal. But this particular trip was outstanding. The weather couldn't have been nicer. Of course, when the ship sails into the Inside Passage or sails into the Hubbard Glacier, that area, any of the glaciers, they do their best to get as close as they can, and they're going slow. So, if you don't have a balcony. You don't need a balcony. You simply can go up top on the deck and observe from there. The ship's moving slowly, so there's not a lot of wind going across. So if you're standing in the sunshine, it's perfectly comfortable. Not a problem at all. Didn't see a lot of sea life this time. Seems like last time we saw some seals and that sort of thing. Now, I did hear there was some whale activity. Didn't film any, but not surprising to see whales out here this time of year. Glaciers were very, very pretty. Nice and bright. On one of the glaciers, and I'm not sure which one, I'm not sure I actually caught it on camera, there was a tour group with a helicopter that had landed on the glacier and were exploring it firsthand. There was also, at Hubbard Glacier, there was an excursion boat that came alongside and picked up some passengers to bring them for a closer view. And generally, there's a naturalist on board who can give you information, informative talks about the glaciers, how they're formed, how old they are, and that sort of thing. And it's interesting. And the idea of whether you should have a balcony or not is another thing. This particular cruise, we did have one, and it's nice as long as you're sitting on the sunny side of the ship because it's warm enough to sit outside. But when you're going in the opposite direction and you're on the shady side, it can be a little cool. So honestly, it's just as good to go up on deck and walk from side to side and see the sights from there. On the ship, we tried the newest, Princess and their medallion system and all this. And I got to say, does it work? Yes. Does it work well? No. It's neat to walk up to your door and have it recognize you and unlock, and that's fine. But as far as the idea of using the medallion to order food or order drinks, it can be done, but it's not very efficient. If you're sitting in the atrium, the center of the ship, and you order chips or dip or a drink, you're looking at 20 to 30 minutes minimum. We waited as long as 53 minutes for potato chips. On one occasion, we waited 20 minutes and we had our soft drink orders canceled automatically. No explanation. So it's kind of gimmicky. It can be neat, I guess, for some items, but it doesn't really work as well as it's advertised. It was practically useless to make reservations. Our package that we had on this particular cruise included a free specialty dining, but when we attempted to book it before the cruise, it was always out of service. It wouldn't allow you to book. Then once we got on the cruise, everything was booked up. The earliest dinner reservation we could find at any specialty restaurant was 9:10 at night. So again, it's a situation where Princess is making promises that they don't keep, that they can't keep. And again, not the best way to ensure future cruisers, not the best way to keep cruisers happy. This was our 35th cruise, our second on Princess. We've done Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, Celebrity, Disney, Norwegian. And honestly, we were kind of looking at, which cruise line to use for the more, I guess, upscale cruises, more upscale than, say, Carnival or Royal Caribbean. And we were looking at Princess and Celebrity. So we did 2 Princess, 2 Celebrity to kind of do a fair comparison. And I got to be honest, in this case, Celebrity won. It wasn't a contest. This will undoubtedly be our last Princess cruise, primarily for the disappointment we had in the land tour, but also the ship itself. Grand Princess, like a lot of the Princess ships of this class, is not particularly well laid out. The buffet is woefully small, difficult to access, doesn't have a lot of choice. All I can say is the desserts were pretty good, and that's unusual for most cruise ships. But in this case, the ship disappointed as much as the land tour did. And some of these issues are issues we saw on our first Princess cruise, the buffet, for example. So I think in the future it'll be a different cruise line. But as you can see, beautiful, just beautiful scenery here. Alaska is great. I have to be honest, when, my first Alaska cruise, I had to be dragged kicking and screaming. I always had in my mind that cruising is sunshine and Caribbean and beaches. But after going once and now twice, I'm more than ready to go back. It is a different experience, but it's just a nice place. Beautiful place. I didn't think I'd enjoy the mountains as much as I do the beaches, but I do. There's one of our lifeboats out there doing a little shakedown, I guess, a little maintenance cruise while we're there. Nice shot of what I believe is Hubbard Glacier. As you can see, the ship is slowly doing a 360 here so that everybody gets a view. Our next video that we're going to post, and it will probably be fairly quickly, it will be the last of this series, and it will be our stops at Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan. All great ports, all ports that are well worth stopping at, well worth getting down. You don't have to do an excursion. All these places are eminently walkable, things you can do on your own. Juneau has a nice public bus system you can use to get around if you want to go to Mendenhall Glacier or whatever. Skagway, very easy to walk around, a lot of shops. Ketchikan as well, Creek Street, those places. Easy to get to, easy to access. And there's some great excursions as well if you want to do whale watching or whatever. So the stops are very nice. And again, there's always that being in the USA is nice. You feel comfortable when you get offshore. It's not like going ashore in some of the dicier Caribbean places like the Dominican Republic or Haiti or those places, Jamaica, or even Europe, the European ports where you certainly feel out of place because you don't speak the language. So Alaska's a great place to visit. A little difficult dealing with Canada right now because of the COVID restrictions, but you can always sail out of Seattle. Or if you do choose to sail out of or come back through Canada, through Vancouver, there's always the option of taking the ship shuttle to SeaTac, to the airport in Seattle, rather than dealing with Vancouver and dealing with the Canadian authorities and getting out of the country. So there are always options. Just pay attention to what's going on at the moment and choose what works best for you. But again, thanks for everybody for watching. We're having some good views. It's heartening to see, and we appreciate it. And I'll try to put together the last one for you here shortly and get it posted as quickly as I can. So thanks again.